In this video, we're going to be discussing how you can start cycling, whether that's for a New Year's resolution, now it's almost 2021, or simply because you want to try it. I'm here to help everyone, so let's jump straight into the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, a vegan triathlete, and on this channel I talk triathlon, vegan food and personal productivity. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, hit subscribe for more content. The new year is absolutely the perfect time to start cycling, but you can do it at any time. Cycling can often seem like a daunting or a scary sport, and it's easy to get confused and end up spending far too much time and money without really enjoying yourself. But with the tips in this video, we're going to make it simple and straightforward to get into cycling and make sure that you're enjoying yourself right from the get-go. My first tip is to start with any bike that you have, regardless how new or old it is. It's so tempting to go out, buy a bike because you're really sure you're going to love cycling, but this makes the sport phenomenally expensive, and it's the biggest thing that you're going to be spending. And you can enjoy the sport with so much less without having the top bike, the top neck, whatever it is. Especially bikes though, with them being the most expensive part. You really don't need that. And especially if you're a beginner cyclist, having a brand new bike can make it scary because you can often be worried about damaging the thing you've just spent so much money on. So just start with any bike, whether that be a road bike, a mountain bike, an e-bike, whatever it is. Use the things that you have to enjoy cycling to start with, and make sure that you really are in love with the sport before you go and try and buy something really expensive like the brand new carbon fibre bike your friend has. Just get out on the roads or in the local parks and start enjoying yourself before you spend too much money. One of the biggest concerns that stops a lot of people from starting to take up cycling is their personal safety. This is super important, and I actually think counter to the bike part of this video, this is where you should start spending money. If you don't already have one, please go and get yourself a helmet. I can highly recommend getting a good quality bike helmet, as this is going to be one of the biggest things that keeps you safe and makes you feel comfortable and secure while riding your bike. Another thing that might be a good investment is some lights or some reflective clothing. Although this isn't always necessary, if you have any ideas about riding in poor weather conditions or when it's dark, these are going to be 100% necessary to make sure that you're seen by other road users, both for their benefit and for your benefit, as you're much less likely to get into an accident, and it also just makes you feel much more visible and much more secure and safe while riding, when otherwise you might not feel that way. On the topic of clothing, I'd also suggest making sure you have things that you're comfortable cycling in. Although you can cycle in jeans or trousers, that's really not going to be the most enjoyable way, especially if you want to go for longer bike rides and you're using it more for sport rather than just for transport. If you've got them, wearing normal sports shorts or leggings can be quite comfortable, but it won't give you the optimum. Things that are specifically designed for cycling, like bib shorts, cycling shorts, or bib leggings, are going to give you a lot more support while you're on the bike and make sure that you're really comfortable in the saddle area the whole time, which can make it more enjoyable and easier to cycle further and faster than you otherwise would, making you fitter and enjoy your new hobby even more. Although it can be really easy to get carried away and to want to do more and more cycling really quickly, with running and cycling, I would say to build up slowly. Don't expect to be riding the Tour de France in the first week of taking up cycling. Take it slow and make sure that you don't injure yourself or find yourself aching too much and not wanting to cycle again, as this is going to put you off cycling and you're never going to really get into the sport if you can't keep going and going and going. I'd start by exploring your local area first before planning any mega rides into further places. You'll have plenty of time to do that once you've mastered the basics of cycling. As soon as is appropriate in the COVID world we're currently living, I would recommend cycling with friends of a similar ability. This can both make cycling more enjoyable and can encourage you to start and keep up when the going gets tough and you feel like you don't want to continue. I'd recommend picking people who are a similar ability to you for a number of reasons, as it can help you all overcome the challenges of being a beginner cyclist together, and will give you a good sense of camaraderie as you overcome these challenges and all improve in similar ways at similar times. If you pick people who are so much better than you, it can often be frustrating for that person and for you. The other person might be eager to go and cycle further or faster than is really comfortable for you, and might feel like they're not enjoying themselves as much, and you might feel pushed to do more than you otherwise could and end up hurting yourself or not enjoying yourself. And that's just not a good relationship and situation for either person. So pick people who are also new beginner cyclists and go and do rides that are appropriate for all of your abilities. Use these kind of cycles, especially with friends, to explore places in the local area that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. Get started with this early in your journey, and it'll inspire you to keep going and going and going, and it will make it so much easier to stick to when the going gets quite tough and you don't quite feel like going out for a bike ride today. Local parks and things like that are a great place to start, but you can quickly expand this to other country roads and even go into new places and then cycling once you're there to kind of experience all the different places and things cycling has to offer. And the final point for this video is my favourite thing about cycling, and that's stopping for a cup of coffee. It's almost a rite of passage for any cyclist to be doing, so you may as well start as soon as you humanly can. It gives your legs an opportunity to have a rest and a break, and it's also a reward for you for doing it and getting out of the house and going on these cycles. And you can even drop in a bit of cake there, which I definitely do, especially in the off season at the moment. It can give you something to look forward to in the first few months of cycling if you're still struggling with that motivation to get out the door every single time. By giving yourself just a small incentive, it can make it so much easier to convince yourself to stick with a sport that you know is going to be good for you in the long run, but might take a little bit of convincing right at the start. And that's it for this video. I hope with these tips, you'll find it easier to get into this new hobby that we all love. I think you'll quickly find yourself getting fitter, you'll find yourself growing thinner, while your wallet gets fatter with all the money you can save with the tips that we've discussed. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like some more cycling or triathlon content, please hit subscribe, and on screen now you're going to see a link to my cycling playlist, which will give you some more tips and tricks when it comes to your training once you've actually started cycling.